Alright, what's up you guys? I'm here with the WWE TLC 2018 full pay-per-view review. As always, star ratings for the matches, and then a letter grade for the end. So, decent pay-per-view to end the year off. Final pay-per-view 2018, and I will be doing a ranking video for all the pay-per-views, so stay tuned for that. So, let's start with the kickoff matches. Not really much to say for these. We had the Cruiserweight title match, Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander. This one went around 10 minutes, kind of short, and, not the best Cruiserweight title match we've had, which is kind of disappointing, because these two are, phenomenal athletes. But first we had some trade takedowns and pin attempts, which ended in the stalemate, of course. We had a nice DDT on the ring apron. And then we have Cedric landing a springboard clothesline with a near fall to Buddy Murphy. And then, really the finish, we had Buddy Murphy tripping Alexander into the middle turnbuckle, and then we had a Murphy's Law for the win. So this match, 2 3/4. I felt like, given time, could have been a lot better, but it is what it is. Next up, unfortunately, we had the ladder match, Elias versus Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush. The guitar hanging, and then you gotta go grab it, and then you win the match. So it's not even normal rules, where you grab it, then you can use it. This is just, it's kind of like the sledgehammer match, I guess, from 2011. But, yeah. This was, I don't even want to talk about this. If any match needed the ladder match stipulation, this was not it. Like, this is just such a waste of a ladder match. And then you had matches on the card that should have been ladder matches, which we'll get to that. But basically, we had Elias grabbing the guitar to win the match, and then after the match, he's about to hit Lashley with the guitar. Lio Rush jumps on Elias, and then Lio Rush hits a frog splash, and then Lashley hits Elias with the guitar, Jeff Jarrett style. So, next, I don't even know what to rate that. 1.5, 1.25, somewhere around there. I'm glad this was on the pre-show, and it did not get much time. So, to start off the main card, we had the Mixed Match Challenge Finals, R-Truth and Carmella versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox from the cursed Season 2 of Mixed Match Challenge. So, this was a very generic match to start out. This only went 5 minutes and 50 seconds. And then the winner, of course, gets the final spot in the Rumble, which I think there's going to be a swerve there. I think you're going to have a big entrant at the Royal Rumble. Here's my prediction. We had R-Truth and Carmella win the match. Very basic match. You had a dance break in the middle of it. The Singh brothers got involved. We had R-Truth hits the lie detector. Fox tags herself in. And then Fox puts on her little captain hat, and then R-Truth puts it on. It falls off. Carmella puts in the Code of Silence, and then Fox taps out pretty quick. So that's your basic rundown of the match. Really nothing special here. My theory is, R-Truth and Carmella, they're going to WWE headquarters for their all-expense-paid vacation, which was pretty funny, but I'll give them that. Here's my theory. What if R-Truth, because there is no way he's going to be number 30. There is no way. That's like the biggest spot you keep a surprise. So what if R-Truth goes on that trip during the Rumble by accident, and then like The Rock or a big entrant comes out at number 30? Because I currently have 3 picks for the Rumble. The Rock is one of them. You never know. So, we'll see what happens. This match, I'll give it 1 3/4. It was entertaining, so you gotta give it something. You had the dance break, which is kind of getting old, but it's still entertaining to some degree. Next up, we have The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and then versus The Usos. This should have been a TLC match. You have 3 of the best tag teams on your roster. Give them the TLC stipulation. This went 12 minutes and 15 seconds. You could have done a decent TLC match in that time. This match was sort of all over the place. Yeah, it was all over the place. But we have Kofi Kingston and Sheamus starting the match. And, the Usos, it's triple threat tag team rules. So the Usos are kind of forgotten for the first few minutes. We have, some good action. We have a good crossbody off the top from Jimmy Uso. They have a super kick party, kicking pretty much everyone in sight. We have slingshot DDT by Woods on Cesaro. We have Sheamus giving the knees to Woods in the face. He calls for a brogue kick. Sheamus misses. We have a Trouble in Paradise. And we have Woods laying down his elbow drop finisher. So as you can see here, the point of listing all that, a lot of action was going on. And then we had Woods trying another slingshot DDT, but Sheamus brogue kicks Woods out of the air for the win. And we have The Bar as your SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. So, kind of predictable. But, a lot of action. You had Kofi Kingston go up top and pretty much take everyone out except for Xavier Woods and Sheamus. So that kind of gets rid of everybody so you can get the pin. This match I gave 3 1/4. This was entertaining, but this is just such a waste. It's just, it bothers me. This could have been a great TLC match. Just like at WrestleMania. We had a very similar matchup there. Could have had a great TLC match. So, I think you had the Brogue Brothers instead of, or the Brogue Brothers, wow, the Bludgeon Brothers. It's 4:30 a.m., so bear with me. We had the Bludgeon Brothers instead of the Bar at WrestleMania, so could have made a good TLC match, though. Next up, we have Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin TLC match. Okay. Not one ladder, not one table. I think we only had chairs, if I remember correctly. Why give this the TLC match stipulation? Why not just make it no DQ? See what I'm saying? Where this was a TLC match, you could have given it to another deserving match. So it's just, this match went 16 minutes, technically. You had Heath Slater, he was counting down from 10, or he was counting to 10. And then once he got to 7, we had Braun Strowman come out. He had his, obviously his elbow was still wrapped up and everything. Still, obviously not cleared. But he says, oh, the match is no DQ, so technically he can have anyone help him win. So we had Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, we had Apollo Crews, Finn Balor, and then, they're all surrounding Baron Corbin, just attacking him with chairs. And then Corbin, he's outside the ring, walking up towards the ramp, and then Kurt Angle's music hits. And we kind of had a bearded TNA Kurt Angle, which was kind of interesting to see. But, he attacks Baron Corbin with a chair. And, yeah, not really a match. I mean, it was just kind of a clusterfuck, to be honest. But even Heath Slater took off his referee shirt to only put it back on after we have Balor hit the coup de grace. And then Strowman puts his foot on Corbin's chest as Heath Slater counts to 3, as he is now the ref again. So Corbin is no longer the Raw GM, and that means at the Royal Rumble, once again, we will see Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. for the Universal title. This match I gave 1 star. I mean, what can you really give this match other than that? Next up we had Natalya versus the Riot Squad in a tables match. This one went 12 minutes and 40 seconds. And I'm actually surprised this wasn't on the pre-show. And then we have kind of a lot going on in the corner. I mean, they did build some good suspense. I did enjoy that. And, you know, we had Natalya body slam Logan through a table. And then we had Morgan sent flying through a table. And then finally we had Natalya powerbombing Riot off the second rope through the table for the win. And the table that Natalya had a picture of Ruby Riott on it, just like the Jim Neidhart sticker. So, nice little touch there. But nothing much to this match, quite honestly. Just kind of eliminating the other members to get them away from her, so you could have one-on-one, basically. And I gave this match 2 stars. You know, it had some good tension at the very end, so I'll give it credit for that. So next up we had Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. And this was your average match. It went 12 minutes and 20 seconds. And, you know, basically, like I said, average match, slow build-up, and, you know, very kind of stiff. We had Finn Balor and, you know, McIntyre. They were just chopping each other. You could see it on their chests. There was a point where McIntyre did an overhead throw, just chucks Finn Balor across the ring. And, you know, for the finish, what we had was Dolph Ziggler basically from the outside. You hear a crowd pop. Then you see a super kick to McIntyre. Then he goes to hit McIntyre with a chair and basically gets booted in the face with it. And then McIntyre gets in the ring with the chair. And then we get a drop kick from Balor to McIntyre to the corner. And then we get the coup de grace for the win. So kind of cool to see Finn Balor get a win. You know, it wasn't clean, obviously, but it's still a win on a pay-per-view. So, I gave that match 3 stars. Very average. And kind of a decent finish. And, look, I understand. I guess it's like you only get DQ'd if you physically hit them with the chair. But shouldn't it be a DQ if you drop kick him in the face with it? Something to think about. I don't know. Next up we had Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton in a chairs match. And this lasted 11 minutes and 30 seconds. And here's my problem with the chairs match. It's basically a no DQ match. They just set the chairs up for you. In any kind of match, chairs are available. You can get them from under the ring. You can get them from the side. So it's, I don't know, this is kind of up there with stairs. The stairs match. It's right there anyway. So, like, I don't know. Like, it's just pinfall with chairs. It just seems a little pointless to me, but whatever. Chairs are available for anyone to use in any no DQ match, so I name it a chairs match. But anyway, this was a decent match. You had a really cool spot where, you know, Mysterio, you know, he slid out of the ring, but he had the chair under him, so it was like a boogie board. So he landed on top of Orton with that. That was kind of cool. And then we had a missed West Coast pop from Rey onto the outside, onto the chair, as Randy Orton was sitting on it. Obviously moved out of the way. And there was actually a really cool spot where, I don't think I've ever seen this, where Orton jammed the chair under one of the turnbuckles, and Rey Mysterio was on top of the turnbuckle, and he basically flipped him over and just banged his head on it. I thought that was creative. I liked that. And Randy Orton took a pretty nasty shot to the shoulder, and then we had from the chair that was on a different turnbuckle. At first I thought it was his head, was the shoulder. And then he set up a few chairs, 4 or 5 chairs, and went to basically RKO Mysterio on it, which was then reversed. And then we had, for the finish, a really cool roll-up. It was almost like a Hurricanrana roll-up for the win. And very unique finish. I really like that. And I gave this match 2 3/4. Next up, we had a backstage segment with Dolph Ziggler attacking Finn Balor. So we can assume we'll be seeing that match soon. Maybe on Raw. I don't see it happening at the Rumble, so maybe on Raw. Just a slight backstage segment where Ziggler was basically saying if it weren't for him, he wouldn't have won the match. So next up, we had Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's title, and then we had Tamina on the corner of Nia Jax. This was a pretty good match. It was a lot better than I expected. Very fast-paced. We had a armbar to Jax very early on, which was then reversed, basically powerbombing her way out of it. And then we had, this was actually really cool. Jax was going to suplex Rousey, which she then transitioned into a rear naked choke, which was a really cool spot. And we had Rousey actually, a lot of submissions here. We had Jax putting Rousey in a Cobra Clutch, and then we had a pretty good, for Ronda Rousey, it was a pretty good crossbody from the top rope to the outside. It was good, you know, so props to her for that one. And then we have basically Rousey trying to set up another armbar, and then Tamina distracts her. Jax calls for the face breaker, and then Ronda Rousey turns it into the armbar, and then Jax taps out. And still your women's champion, Ronda Rousey. I gave this match 3.5 stars. This was really good. It didn't seem like overly choreographed either. I know Ronda Rousey, from what I've heard, all of her matches are 100% planned out beforehand. So maybe there was some improv on this one, because I don't know, it seemed a little more genuine. And then we had the WWE Championship, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. This match was awesome. I know a lot of people didn't like it. It was very old school, which is why I liked it. This match went 23 minutes and 55 seconds, so it was the longest match of the night. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this match. Very fast-paced, very hard-hitting, a lot of submissions, and a lot of good psychology. You know, you had great heel work from Daniel Bryan. And, you know, early on, Bryan was rolling out of the ring. AJ Styles was getting, you know, pissed off. There's some good heel work. And then we have a lot of fighting on the outside. And we have, you know, obviously, kind of the Styles, the backflip DDT, the reverse DDT, which is always impressive when you see that. You had him hit, you know, the 450 splash for a near fall. And, you know, we had, it's no longer the yes lock. You know, we had Daniel Bryan have a lot of great near tap outs. And we had good calf crusher, you know, good selling by Daniel Bryan. And, you know, it's just these two, when they get in the ring together, it's just phenomenal. No pun intended. And then there was even a spot where AJ Styles was behind the barricade and then did a phenomenal forearm to Bryan. And the finish, we had Styles, after the forearm, sending Bryan into the ring. He misses the phenomenal forearm, and then Bryan goes for the running knee. Styles puts Bryan in a small package. Bryan reverses it into a small package of his own and gets the pinfall. So kind of an abrupt finish, but that's not always a bad thing. I assume this is it, unless they want to do another one at the Rumble, possibly, or maybe SmackDown. But yeah, Styles obviously looked frustrated, so we might see another one of these. I gave this match 4.25. This, to me, was my favorite match of the night. You know, I love both these guys, and I really like heel Daniel Bryan. I think it's working great. And then next up we had Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship. This went 23 minutes, and, you know, the crowd just kind of tore this one up. This did not deserve "this is boring" chants. There was a lot of storytelling and psychology going on in this match. And you even had something interesting. Corey Graves was on commentary, just like asking Renee Young all these questions, obviously because she's married to Dean Ambrose. So, I don't know. I normally don't like the commentary, but I did like that. It was interesting, to say the least. But, you know, this match, yeah, I could see why people would say it's boring, because there was a very slow pace for the first 10 minutes. But I defend that because it's storytelling. You know, there was emotion to this match. You actually had Rollins calling Dean Ambrose a piece of shit, which they had to edit out. And the match devolves into basically a slugfest. And, you know, we have, for the finish, after being almost counted out because Seth Rollins does the power bomb to the barricade, almost being counted out, Rollins drags Ambrose back into the ring. He tries the curb stomp. Ambrose reverses it into the dirty deeds, and he gets the pin. And like I said, I'm going to give this match I'll give it 3.5. I was going to say 3.25, but honestly, the storytelling and psychology was more than the actual match itself. That's why I'm going over that more than the match itself. This was just an example of something we don't get very often anymore, and that's a compelling storyline. Whether or not you think they should be or not with the leukemia Roman Reigns storyline, I think it adds to it. Why not do something bold? You know, I'd rather him do something bold than do something and play it safe. Personally, I'm all for pushing boundaries, crossing lines. If it's going to make a better story, why not? If people get offended, then tough shit. That's the way I look at it. I don't think you should get offended over it. It's a scripted story, so I mean, yeah, Roman has leukemia and everything, but I'm sure he's fine with them using that as a storyline. I don't really think it's making money off of his illness. I don't think it's, you know, exploiting him. It's an intriguing storyline. And I think people should be able to put their own feelings aside and put their own emotions aside to see it as that. So finally, your main event, which went 21 minutes and 45 seconds. Like I said, it's 4:30 in the morning. I am tired. We had Asuka, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte in the first ever Triple Threat Women's TLC match for the SmackDown Women's title. This was a very enjoyable match, and I miss seeing just a normal TLC match. Last year we had the stupid, handicapped, pinfall. I don't like seeing pinfall in TLC. I just don't. I like when you have that classic grabbing for the title. Not a guitar, a title. But, you know, we had 2 table spots in this one, and then 1 separate announced table spot. But, you know, this was a really good match. The first table spot was kind of botched. We had basically a powerbomb to Charlotte through the table, which was diagonal on the turnbuckle, and like literally only like 6 inches of it broke off, and it just looked hilarious, just sitting there, and then 1 little sliver's broken off. Obviously she threw her too low, but it is what it is. And then we had Becky Lynch setting up a ladder outside, and then Charlotte had cleared the table off earlier, so basically Lynch put Charlotte on the table, and then Asuka was on the table, and she did a really good leg drop, but she landed on Charlotte, basically just all of her weight on her chest, and it looked painful as hell. I don't know if Charlotte's just really good at selling, or that really fucking hurt, because you could just tell. She was screaming in pain. That at least has to be a bruised rib. That looked painful. And then we had Becky Lynch on a table, separate, regular table, and then Charlotte did a senton off the top rope onto the table. Pretty decent looking senton. And then, finally, all three of them are in the ring, and, well, I should mention before that, we had sort of a ring barricade spot. It didn't fully break, but Asuka was put through the ring barricade by Charlotte after Asuka went on a, basically, rampage. And then all three of them are in the ring. We had Charlotte and Becky Lynch on one ladder, and Ronda Rousey comes out, pushes both of them off the ladder, and then Asuka slowly climbs the ladder, retrieves the title, and is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. And I actually predicted Asuka. I think she was kind of a dark horse in this one. Not many people thought she was going to win, because that she just kind of came out of nowhere. She won a Battle Royal to get into this. So I'm going to give this match 4 stars. This was really enjoyable. And overall, the pay-per-view itself, I'm going to give this a B-, which might be high for some people, but the WWE title match was phenomenal. Once again, no pun intended. The main event was great. I like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Great storytelling on that one. So I'm going to give this a B-. Some of the undercard was lacking. You know, I thought the Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin match was bullshit, but it is what it is. So let me know what your letter grade would be and your star ratings and what you thought of this pay-per-view overall. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the DVD Freak. Peace out.